Every 40 seconds, someone in the United States has a stroke. It is a stark and sobering reality. And for those of us over the age of 65, this reality feels particularly close, as about 75% of all strokes occur in our age group. The risk, we are told, doubles for every decade of life after age 55. And disturbingly, after years of decline, the overall prevalence of stroke has actually increased in the last decade by nearly 8%. And I understand that hearing these numbers can bring up a lot of feelings: worry, a sense of dread, perhaps even a feeling of helplessness, especially if you or someone you love has already been touched by a stroke. The fear of it happening, or the fear of it happening again, can become a constant, unwelcome companion, casting a shadow over the life you want to live. Many people fear not just the event itself, but the potential for long-term disability, the loss of mobility and independence that can follow. But what if I told you that this feeling of helplessness is something we can challenge? According to one of the nation's leading neurologists, a specialist who has dedicated their life to understanding the brain, the belief that we are powerless against stroke is one of the most damaging myths of all. This expert's clinical experience, supported by a wealth of scientific research, points to a powerful truth: that simple, consistent, and even enjoyable daily rituals can fundamentally change your body's internal environment, making it far less hospitable to the conditions that cause a stroke. In the next 30 minutes, we are going to walk through 3 specific, evidence-based teas that do exactly that. We will not only explore what they are, but how they work, and most importantly, why they represent a profound shift from fear to empowerment in taking control of your health. The first and most important lesson from the neurologist clinic is this: we must dismantle the myth that a stroke is an unavoidable event, a random lightning strike we can't do anything about. This belief is simply not true. The American Stroke Association confirms that up to 80% of strokes are preventable. While family history can play a role, it is not a life sentence. Lifestyle factors can significantly mitigate that genetic risk. And of all the lifestyle factors we can control, one of the most powerful and perhaps most misunderstood is diet. One analysis concluded that diet is a more significant risk factor than most physicians even suppose, with only a tiny fraction of Americans consuming a truly healthy diet. Now, I know that hearing this can feel like a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's empowering, but on the other, it can feel overwhelming, like another thing to worry about or another area where we might feel we're not doing enough. And it's perfectly okay to feel that way. The goal here is not to create guilt, but to illuminate a path. The simple truth is that small, consistent changes to what we eat and drink can have an outsized impact on our health. A neurologist I spoke with shared the story of a gentleman in his early 70s. Let's call him Robert. After a TIA, a mini stroke, Robert was consumed by anxiety. He felt his body had betrayed him and that another, bigger stroke was just around the corner. He'd heard vague advice about eating better, but it felt abstract and unachievable. The turning point came when his neurologist shifted the focus from a long list of don'ts to a short list of powerful do's. Instead of just telling him to avoid certain foods, they focused on adding specific, protective elements to his diet. This small shift in perspective changed everything. It gave him a sense of control, a positive action to take each day. His fear began to recede, replaced by a quiet confidence. This neurologist notes that Robert's story is incredibly common. The feeling of being overwhelmed by vague dietary advice is a major barrier. But when patients are given a few high-impact specific strategies like the teas we're about to discuss, they are far more likely to succeed. It's not about a perfect diet overnight. So let's begin with our first evidence-based tool. It's simple, ancient, and remarkably effective. Green tea. Multiple large-scale scientific reviews, known as meta-analyses, have confirmed its power. One such analysis, which summarized all the available human data, found that individuals drinking 3 or more cups of tea per day had a staggering 21% lower risk of ischemic stroke than those who drank less than 1 cup per day. Another massive study from Japan, following over 82,000 people for 13 years, found similar results. Those drinking 4 or more cups of green tea daily lowered their overall stroke risk by 20%. So, how does this simple leaf accomplish such a feat? The answer lies in powerful compounds called catechins, a type of flavonoid unique to tea. These catechins are potent antioxidants. Think of them as your body's personal cleanup crew. They neutralize unstable molecules called free radicals that cause damage and inflammation in your blood vessels, a process that contributes directly to stroke risk. Beyond just antioxidant activity, these catechins also have powerful anti-inflammatory effects, helping to calm the chronic, low-grade inflammation in the arteries that can lead to blockages. Now, according to food scientists and researchers, how you prepare your green tea matters. To unlock the maximum amount of these protective catechins, we need to be strategic. A common mistake is using water that isn't hot enough or steeping for too short a time. Another is adding milk. Studies show that adding cow's or even soy milk can bind to these beneficial compounds and reduce their availability to your body. And here's a simple way to make your cup even more powerful. Research has shown that adding a splash of citrus juice, like lemon, can dramatically increase the amount of catechins your body is able to absorb. The vitamin C in the lemon helps preserve these delicate compounds during digestion, making them more available to your system. I realize this might be a new routine for some of you. It might seem like a small detail, but these are the kinds of small, knowledgeable steps that add up to a significant protective effect. It's about turning a simple daily habit into a precise, therapeutic tool. Our second tool targets the single greatest risk factor for stroke: high blood pressure. This is where a beautiful ruby red tea comes into play: hibiscus tea. Numerous studies have shown that hibiscus can be remarkably effective. A 2015 review of multiple studies found that hibiscus tea decreased systolic blood pressure by an average of 7.58 millimeters of mercury and diastolic blood pressure by 3.53 millimeters of mercury. To put that in perspective, a 5-point drop in systolic blood pressure across a population could lead to 14% fewer stroke deaths each year. How does it work? One of the primary ways is that the bioactive compounds in hibiscus act as a natural ACE inhibitor. ACE is an enzyme in your body that helps create a substance that constricts your blood vessels. By gently inhibiting this enzyme, hibiscus helps your blood vessels relax, which in turn lowers your blood pressure. It's a similar mechanism to some very common blood pressure medications. Now, because hibiscus works so effectively, a very important and common question arises from a place of caution and wisdom. If I'm already taking medication for high blood pressure, is it safe to drink hibiscus tea? This is exactly the right question to be asking, and it's something a cardiologist would want you to consider carefully. The answer is that because hibiscus can lower blood pressure, taking it alongside medications that do the same thing could potentially cause your blood pressure to go too low. This also applies to some medications for diabetes. This does not mean you can't use it. It means this is a conversation to have with your doctor. They know your health profile and your medications. You can go to them armed with this knowledge and say, I've learned that hibiscus tea can be effective for blood pressure. Could this be a safe addition to my plan? How should we monitor it? This is the very definition of being an empowered, active participant in your own care. The key to seeing a benefit from hibiscus, as with any of these strategies, is consistency. But let's be honest, life happens. There will be days you forget, or days you're traveling. That is perfectly normal. Please do not see this as a pass-fail test. It's not about perfection. It's about the gentle, consistent effort over time. If you miss a day, simply begin again the next. Your body will thank you for the effort you do make, not punish you for the occasional lapse. Let's take a moment here and pause. We've covered a tremendous amount of ground. We started by confronting the fear and uncertainty that surround stroke risk. We dismantled the myth of helplessness and established that we have significant control. Then we introduced two powerful tools from the Neurologist toolkit: green tea, which works to lower overall stroke risk through its antioxidant and anti-inflammatory catechins, and hibiscus tea, which specifically targets high blood pressure by helping to relax our blood vessels. Now, it's crucial to see how these are not just two separate ideas, but a system. Think of it like maintaining a house. Green tea is like doing preventative maintenance on all the wiring and plumbing. Its catechins protect the integrity of the entire system of your blood vessels. Hibiscus tea is like having a pressure release valve to ensure the water pressure in the pipes never gets dangerously high. They work together, one protecting the structure, the other managing the force. And by simply staying with me to this point, you have already taken a significant step. You've armed yourself with knowledge that many people will never hear. I want to commend you for your focus and your commitment to your own well-being. But what about the other side of the equation? What about the stress, the worry, the sleepless nights that we know can also put a strain on our heart and our blood pressure? And what if I told you there was a deeper, unifying principle that connects all of these strategies? The single scientific reason why these teas are so protective. Because understanding this final piece is what truly moves us from just following instructions to deeply understanding how to build a body that is resilient from the inside out. This is the key to lasting change. This brings us to our third and final tea, which acts as a bridge to this deeper understanding: chamomile. Now, you won't find large-scale studies linking chamomile directly to a 20% reduction in stroke like you do with green tea. Its role is different, but no less important. A neurologist will tell you that managing the entire system is key, and that includes the nervous system. While the first two teas work on the plumbing, our third tea works on the electrical system, the stress and nerve signals that can put the whole system under strain. Chamomile is nature's gift for calming that system. It has been used for centuries to ease anxiety, reduce stress, and promote restful sleep. And why does this matter for stroke risk? Because chronic stress and poor sleep are directly linked to higher blood pressure and inflammation, two key drivers of cardiovascular disease. And here is where it all connects. The catechins in green tea, the anthocyanins in hibiscus, the apigenin in chamomile, they all belong to one massive, powerful family of plant compounds called flavonoids. This is the unifying principle. Flavonoids are the master keys that unlock better vascular health. They work primarily by healing and supporting the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels, known as the endothelium. Think of the endothelium as the gatekeeper of your cardiovascular system. First, they boost nitric oxide. Flavonoids help the endothelium produce more nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a gas that tells your blood vessels to relax and widen, which improves blood flow and lowers pressure. Second, they fight inflammation. They act as powerful anti-inflammatories, calming the irritation in the vessel walls that can lead to plaque buildup and damage. And third, they reduce oxidative stress. As potent antioxidants, they neutralize the free radical damage that makes the endothelium sticky, less flexible, and more prone to clots. When you start to consistently nourish your body with these flavonoid-rich teas, you may not feel a dramatic change overnight. The process is subtle, deep within your cells, but there are small signs you can look for that tell you the system is improving. You might notice a greater sense of calm or that you're sleeping more soundly through the night, thanks to the chamomile. You might feel you have more sustained energy during the day, a sign your circulation is becoming more efficient. Or you might see a small but steady improvement in your home blood pressure readings. These are the first whispers from your body, telling you that it's responding to the care you're providing. So now we can see the full picture. We began this journey looking for 3 teas to lower stroke risk. But what we've discovered is something far more profound. The goal is not simply to drink these 3 specific teas. The true transformative strategy, the one that neurologists and cardiologists are increasingly focusing on, is to consciously and consistently adopt a flavonoid-rich lifestyle. These teas are simply your first, easiest, and most powerful step into that lifestyle. When you make a habit of drinking them, you are bathing your endothelium, the lining of every blood vessel in your body, in the very compounds it needs to heal, relax, and protect itself. And a fascinating thing happens when you adopt this single principle. Other healthy choices become almost effortless. You'll naturally be drawn to the other foods rich in these same protective compounds: berries, dark leafy greens, apples, citrus fruits, and even a small amount of dark chocolate. It stops being a confusing set of rules and becomes one simple guiding question. How can I get more of these protective flavonoids into my day? This shift in mindset is the key to moving from a state of anxiety about your health to a state of empowered, joyful participation in it. You are no longer just defending against a disease. So, let's distill this down into a simple, clear action plan that you can start with today. Think of this as your daily therapeutic ritual. 1. In the morning or early afternoon, aim for 2 to 4 cups of green tea. Remember to brew with hot water for 3 to 5 minutes and add a squeeze of lemon to maximize its benefits. 2. In the midday or afternoon, enjoy 2 to 3 cups of hibiscus tea. And crucially, if you are on any blood pressure or diabetes medication, make a note to discuss adding this tea to your routine with your doctor at your next visit. This is the most important safety step. 3. In the evening, about 1 hour before bed, brew a warm, comforting cup of chamomile tea to help calm your nervous system and prepare your body for restorative sleep. Please hear this clearly. This plan is a guide, not a rigid prescription. The goal is not perfection. The goal is gentle, consistent effort. Be kind and compassionate with yourself on this journey. Some days will be easier than others. The most important thing is to simply begin and to know that every single cup you drink is a positive act of self-care. You are not alone in this. Millions of people are on this same path, learning to take control of their health, one small step at a time. And you have the knowledge and the power to do it successfully. Thank you for entrusting me with your time and attention today. It is a privilege to share this vital information with you. We have built a community here of people dedicated to living longer, healthier, and more empowered lives. And your experience is a valuable part of that. So I would love for you to share in the comments below. What is one small positive change you have made for your health that has made you feel more in control? It doesn't have to be a tea. Remember, knowledge is your greatest tool. Use it wisely, use it consistently, and use it with compassion for yourself. If you found this information valuable, please consider liking this video and sharing it with someone you care about. And be sure to subscribe for more evidence-based strategies to support your health and well-being. Until next time, be well.